Welcome back. I have something really cool for you today. This is something we don't talk about because we dismiss it as, well, I'm not sure if it really happened, and that is messages from higher beings. I'm going to share some with you today. I have some pretty powerful ones. I'm going to ask you if maybe you haven't experienced this. Now we're going to talk a little bit about channeling, but the messages from higher beings exist right now without even having to do that. That is a form of channeling. I'm going to tell you what the difference is. I'm going to share some messages that I received, some things that are going on right now. I think you're going to love this. Are you ready to go into that space of peace, to break through those fears and start living that amazing life that exists right now for you? Let's go there. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears and live an amazing life. Do you know fears are just self-imposed limitations? Self-imposed. Fear. Fear is a choice. I know it doesn't seem like it. I'm going to tell you how you can get messages from higher beings. But if you live in a state of fear, which is a low frequency, it is like shutting the door on a beautiful day like today. So those of you who've gotten my book, Breakthrough Fear, Your Spiritual Butt Kick, the link is down here in the description. It really takes you into that space of no limitations. And I explain to you how things work. Now, I don't have all the answers to the metaverse, but I have enough. And I've gotten that information from messages. Now, I'm not one of those people that goes into some voice and, body movements and whatever. Nothing wrong with that. Somebody asked me, can you trust channeling? And I said, well, you can trust channeling as well as you can say, I trust anything out there. There are going to be all kinds of frequencies and formats and who's to say who's saying what. We don't know what's on that other side. This is why you have to be very careful with this. There'll be people that tell you that they are channeling certain people, and maybe that message doesn't really seem so pure and positive. Watch that. Warnings, okay, that is possible. That could be a little negative. However, what is that warning? Because there's nothing you cannot change. Warnings like from Edgar Casey, who channeled, he went into a trance state where he was unaware of what he was talking about. It was actually physically draining on him, and he actually was getting way too many readings and ended up dying younger than he would have if he'd have backed off. He was warned about this by the other beings on the other side telling him he's giving too many readings in one day. All right, it depleted his own physical energy field, not his real energy field. That is eternal. So we have to be careful with this. Now, he was giving some amazing messages about healing, how to heal. You can get all of that. You can get all of your messages. But you must, absolutely must, step out of the way. What does that mean? You cannot have your own preconceived ideas about what things are, when they should happen. When you let go of all that, you open the gateways. Now, there are some people who get messages. I have a friend, she said she got her first message from Mother Mary at age 16. I'm not going to question that. If it's real for you, then it's real. And so we're afraid of that, or we think that that is, false or wrong. And those are human beliefs and limitations. So if you get rid of those, and you open yourself up to, and you really listen to the messages, whether they're coming through somebody else or yourself, you can gain some great knowledge. The number one thing about channeled messages, if they are remotely negative, that's not a high frequency source. That's just a fact. It's channeling, but it's not a high frequency. So if there's a door that opens, if I open my door here, I don't know what's going to come in. Right? I could get cockroaches, I could get some fun neighbors, and that's all that's happening. It's an opening. Now, what's happening for most people, if channelers are in a low frequency themselves, and they are, let's just say, have their own beliefs, limiting beliefs, they can alter that message. They can connect, because that you don't completely step aside. you're still filtering through your own personality and ego. That's why you'll see some of these channels. They're talking like themselves with their own beliefs. Edgar Cayce stepped completely aside. He actually didn't believe in reincarnation, yet he spoke of it in his sessions because he was not present at all in those sessions. Most channelers are still present on some level, so it's coming through their own beliefs, their own fears, their own whatever it is. Thoughts are still part of that energy field coming through, and this is why you have to be very careful. All right, so if somebody believes something and they claim they're channeling, and that channeled message seems to be very much like what they think, step away. I'm going to share some messages that I've received. When I was an investment banker and I realized I had to get out of that whole financial industry, and I was in a very high awakened state, and I had a foot that was just absolutely so painful, and I was going to have to get an operation. I was running on it every day like a fool. But I would get up every morning and I would put my foot on the floor and it would be so painful. And I was finally said, okay, I resign. And this is one of the most powerful things you can do is you just let go. Okay, I just have to go get an operation. It is what it is. Instead of, I must heal, I must do this. You're already perfect. You don't have to heal anything. You are absolutely perfect. So this is why I'm telling you right now, you absolutely have access to everything, but it's all about frequency. So when I let go, there was no more decisions about it. It is what it is. I didn't have to judge it. Well, that night, around that period of time, I felt something pop in my foot during sleep. I was in that theta state, and I felt something moving my foot around. I remember saying, who's moving my foot? Because I was really physically being moved and manipulated. I woke up in the morning, put my foot on the floor, zero pain, and it's been that way ever since. What was the message? I was going in the wrong direction, and when I gave up all of that, I went into internet training and started my spiritual teachings, and of course, I was going in the right direction. Everything is literal on some level. This is why we call it dis-ease. If you are not in alignment and a high frequency, everything in your whole energy field, including your whole body, is going to operate, let's just say, not on its highest level. So if it's in a low frequency, it's not working together as a happy community. These are all messages for you. That is part of messaging. Everything's a message. Everything's communicating with you, all right? And you will see the repercussions. I receive that which I give, right? Asking you, it is given. Your thoughts and everything you do is the ask. So when I went to sleep one night, right around that period of time, I was in I call it the Crystal City. I go to this place very rarely, but I have been there. You may have been there too. It's a Roman city. It's always a Roman city. Some round buildings, illuminated, pools of water with pathways, people walking around in robes, teachings going on there. There's a library. There's actually a whole center where there's teachings. And it's just a place where people just go and restore themselves, restoration, peace, learning. It's just pretty cool. Didn't really understand it all, but I was there. There was a building I was going to go into. I was going to go in there to make a request. I was going to make a request for something that I wanted. And so I was waiting to go into this building, and people were splashing water out in these pools of, on themselves. And I was like, okay, I'm getting ready. I'm real excited to go in there. I'm going to make a request. And so this beautiful guy in a robe said to me, I have one question for you before you go in there. I said, sure. Fire away, dude. Good looking dude. And he said, why did you come down here to be with us? Now, some of you have heard this before. Why did you come down here to be with us? I actually didn't understand what he meant at the time. And then he turned me around, and there was mountains, sides, covered with people just walking and wandering, just walking and walking, totally unconscious. They weren't aware of us. They were just walking. They weren't interacting with each other. Just looked like anthills of millions of people. And I touched his robe, and I felt the unconditional love that he felt for them. It was beyond the word love. And I realized I had something I had to do. Now, if you're getting any kind of messages like that through dream state, the ones that are way beyond a dream, then you're not listening to the channeling that is happening for you. And this is happening frequently and more frequently for people now. I was meditating one day and I went into that super awakened state. So the thing is that when we get past our fears and our limitations and our ego and we stop thinking about how things should be, we go into that state of expansiveness, and your energy field has no limits. There's no line where it stops. So you go into the expansion of the field of which all things are possible. You can create miracles. You can do anything in this space because that's the essence of you anyways. And I suddenly was in the other room, which had a window to the room I was in, with two light beings. And I was looking at myself and I said to them, I think I'm going to give up fear. Like it was a game. And as soon as I said that and I saw myself, I popped back in my body. I realized I had an out-of-body experience. Now, I have been out of my body a couple other times, like I think 3 times total, where I was really sure that that's what it was. It was beyond a dream. I was not dreaming at that point. I want you to know that you have access to all of these answers. You don't have to ask another person or another entity. If somebody comes to you and they're giving you messages, that's great, but you have to be sure of what those messages are and who they claim to be. Because ultimately, in the other side, there are no names. There are no names. There's no identity because we're one. And the more you go into the high awakened states, the more you realize there are no individuals anymore. There's no reason to have free will because we're one mind at that point. We're thinking as one mind. There's only one choice, unconditional love. And that's the only space we come from over there. If you are not getting messages from other people that are speaking that language, then they could be egos, maybe having, tapping into these things, but creating their own, let's just say, distortion of that message. Now, I want you to know something. We're getting a lot of messages right now that basically, I'm hearing it over and over again, even though I don't watch anything out there. If you're familiar with Bashar, basically, if you listen to him, he gives the same message. It's the same one I give, same one, Eckhart Tolle gives, and so many of us, just maybe a little different version of it. And that is, we're totally in control of what's happening. We're totally in control of our future. There's nothing you hear that cannot be changed. We are going into transition. We're in it. We're way in it. There's no new event anymore. It's going to be a series of changes in transition. We're into major transition right now, okay? So the events that happen will be the physical events, such as you're going to see some very strange things happening because there's going to be people in the lower frequencies, density egos. They are not our enemies. They are us. They're just another version of us that are still in fear and believe that they are the human being they see every day in the mirror and that there's something to protect. When we go into service to others, and if you hear channeling and messages and get those yourself, you're going to be guided to do some pretty amazing things that you might think as a human being you don't want to do or ever could. Listen to those and start acting on them. I know that's a little scary, but you have all the reinforcements in the world. Now here's where you're going to be challenged. You're going to get people that are going to tell you, you can't do that, that's insane. Where'd you get that idea? You have to go with your heart and how it feels here, not your head. Because your head is programmed and connected to the energy field out there, and there's all kinds of frequencies, which means we're all of those frequencies. And if there's a lot of density out there, you're going to pick up on it. All right? Neither good nor bad, but you don't have to believe it. If it is of a low nature or fear, it is not the high frequency thoughts, and you can change any of those. They aren't real if you don't believe them. All right? You're not wearing rose-colored glasses. You're seeing the world that way because it is your reality. Channeled messages. All right, so I have gotten quite a few messages, and that is basically we are going into a state of no fear. Now, I have experienced some things recently in my dream state which are pretty powerful. I know that they're direct messages. That's how I get mine most of the time. I do get them while I'm awake. I'm told certain things. Like my friend, she said she was told she had to publish your book. I was told, publish the book, of which I did. You guys seen this. I published the book. It had to come out because you're ready for it. There's no limits in here, none. If you read this book, you'll be a different person. And so if you expose yourself to the high frequency channeling, you will be a different person, because now you're opening up and connecting to a higher frequency and a belief that you can now channel into and change your mindset, shift your mindset. All right, I have stuff coming out for you guys soon that you're going to absolutely love. I'm going to help you do that because you're still in a dense world and we still share that shared energy field. We're all one, so of course, you know, if the majority of it's negative, you've got to watch that because you don't have to believe anymore. It's true for the people who think and believe it. It doesn't have to be for you because there's unlimited realities out there. So we have a lot of light beings. The more you open up to that and stop listening to low frequencies, the more you're going to connect to those messages. You're going to be driven to do things that you never imagined as a human. You have to let go of those fears. That's all I ever teach you guys. If you're in my mail list, you know this. I teach you how to break through the fears. They're there because we exist in this matrix illusion. We're here with it, a collective. We don't listen to them anymore. We break through it. We watch it, we view it. You go past an accident, you're not in the accident. You see the accident, all right? But you're not in the accident. So, channeled messages, please watch them. Bashar, very positive ones. And he says the same thing, and that is, we are totally in control of our realities, our futures, and no two are alike. So just because somebody else is experiencing that doesn't mean you have to. This is your message today. You are unlimited. Yep, even in this body. You are not ever ill. You're always perfect. The illnesses are the illusions that you're either playing out or have created through dis-ease. So when you go in to change anything in your life, you don't do it from a correcting something. You do it from a I'm already perfect viewpoint. And that the other stuff are the illusions and veils that we have taken on, and you have to believe those for them to exist. When you stop believing them, they dissolve, and everything opens up. All those answers, and everything comes to you because you're connected to it. Somebody channeling somebody else, you have equal access to that. Yeah, maybe in a different way, but you still have equal access because we are one energy field playing out all these scenarios. Does this make sense? This is my message to you. There's nothing you cannot do, be, or have. Ask and it is given. Your ask is your thought. And if you come from judgment, something's wrong, separation, I'm spiritual, they're not, they're wrong, I'm right, then you are still on the lower frequency because separation is density. When you move past that and you see you have nothing but compassion and love for others because they're on their own journey and they are the only one that will know what that's meant to be, and you let it go, and we're there for one another, service to other. You give that, you will receive that tenfold. That's what you're going to get right now if you go into that space. What? C to G, complaining. Anything negative is a complaint. To gratitude. C to G. Complaint, oops, the weather, it's hot. Oop, complaint. Gratitude, I'm so happy I live in Florida. Right? Ugh, my boss is a jerk. Complaint. I'm so happy I have a job. I want you to keep doing that all day. You raise your frequency, you're going to tap into and channel information that is right here for you. You ready to go there? It's pretty powerful. I hope you will. By the way, those of you who, thank you, oh my gosh, you guys are buying my book, you're loving it, but you're not leaving reviews. That drives more people to my book. If you can go back to Amazon and please give me a review. I have one bad review. It was a person who never read the book. They just couldn't get it on their Kindle. We worked through the problem. It had nothing to do with my book. It had to do with their Kindle. And they gave me a 2 review. And they never read the book, so I'm trying to get that removed. Everybody else has given me 5 stars. I hope you'll go there and review it, please. Because I want to spread the word that we are unlimited, beautiful beings sharing this illusion. It can be a beautiful, perfect place. That's the new earth. I hope you'll subscribe. Free videos, creating online businesses. You're ready to go over and get new skills and do some cool stuff online. great community here too. You won't be alone. You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. Namaste.